everybody. I'm Cheryl Jackson. And of course, I told you we were going live today, and I'm so excited about it, man. This is such an exciting venture and time for us. My sister, my friend, my partner, my love. I promise you, she's all of those things. Beth McNeil is here with us from TaxBiz USA, and I
Hello,
am
everyone.
introducing her to the gospel industry.
Yes,
Listen,
I'm
when I find a
excited.
good thing, I want to make sure that everybody knows about this good thing. And Beth has been a good thing, right? And I think
Oh,
that the body of Christ and businesses, especially those of us that are creatives, we need to know about tax laws. We need
yes.
to know that not just having an accountant is enough. And we're going to get into that conversation in just a few moments. Hey, Vincent Griffin, I see you. Hey, everybody. Y'all see y'all popping in. Thank you so very much. In fact, let me know that you're here so we can shout you out. I know you're on YouTube, Facebook, all those Twitter, all of those places. I want to make sure that we are shouting you out and that you're here and that you're going to get the information. So, Beth, say hi
Yes.
to people.
Hi, everyone. I'm totally excited to be here. And thank you, Cheryl, for having me. This has been such an amazing partnership. And I love you. You're like a sister to me. So I appreciate you. And, this is not all about business. It's about
Right.
fellowship, being a Christian and educating, our fellow gospel industry, anyone else that is actually listening. So
Yes.
I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. And that is the whole reason we're coming together. So we thought we would come. We do showcases, we've done house parties, we've done all these things at the Stellars, and we wanted to make sure that our business is in order. So if you saw our flyer, it is the business with a Z, like TaxBiz, the Bizness of
Yes.
Faith. It's going to be a showcase. So we're going to showcase a couple artists. We already confirmed Javante Patton. I can't wait for you to hear his brand new music. We've got some other great artists up our sleeve. We've got some great giveaways we're going to do. So if you register for our event, you'll get some great giveaways, but we'll get into that in just a few moments. I want to talk about the services that you offer, Beth. Let's just talk about the basics real quick at the top. Some things that TaxBiz offers to creatives, to the gospel industry, to those of us that are clergy, and all of those great things.
Okay, great. Well, first and foremost, we are an accounting firm. And what does that mean? We do bookkeeping, accounting, payroll. We do a business services and to guide you with structure and entity structure when you're first starting out. So you can hit the ground running. We do taxes, tax preparation. And we also do representation. If someone owes the IRS, so to tax resolution, if you owe IRS debt or you owe the state taxes, then we can represent you in getting those resolved as well. So we all around deal with small businesses. So that's our niche. So anything dealing with business, payroll, bookkeeping, accounting services, we do all that in-house. So when you come to us, we handle your whole back office.
Mm-hmm.
From
And that
start
is
to
so
finish.
awesome, especially for those of us that are in the industry like myself. I'm an MC, right? And I do speaking engagements and I preach out and I do all these things that fall under the auspice of Cheryl Jackson Enterprises, which is a small
Yes.
business. And Beth has been
Right.
able to help me create a template for that, especially for when it's at the end of the year and it's time for us to do taxes, getting our LLCs, getting all the things that we need to do this business correctly. So at the end of
Right.
the year, you're not being taxed. We talked about it on our podcast, and this is
Yes.
not a shameless plug. It is just a plug because you got to check out our podcast, Simplified Tax Resolutions, right? It's
Right.
everywhere you find podcasts. But we talked about, Beth, how the IRS is literally going after creatives. The IRS is going after those of us that are in the industry, those of us that
Right.
are influencers. Talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that.
Well, see, influencers and you guys, solo artists or independent artists, and anyone that is working for themselves, it's always been a target for the IRS, especially small businesses, because that's where they can actually, collect majority of the taxes. Why? Because they know small businesses does not have a lawyer, does not have a CPA. So when they go after those small businesses, and especially if they're not knowledgeable of the law, they tend to be scared and end up doing whatever the IRS want them to do.
Mhm.
So that is why it's important as a small business that you do have the ally, which is who we are.
Yeah.
We try to protect you before you get those letters from the IRS, before you get audited. We want to make sure that your taxes was done right. And how do you get your taxes done right when you're small businesses? When you're not getting a W-2 where you just go to a national brand, tax company and get it done. You have to prepare before you go get your taxes done, i.e., putting together a profit and loss statement because you did receive income that is not through an employer, and you got to count those income as income. But as well as because you are a small business, you do have expenses. And if you're not doing it every day or every month, what end up happening is at the end of the year, you're scrambling to put it together. And you may end up missing out on deduction because you were not prepared. And now you know the deadline is coming and you got to get it done. And unfortunately, when you wait to the last minute and you come into a company, an accounting firm, they're already busy with the people that have been helping for the past year or throughout the whole year. So now you come in with a bag of receipt and invoices and you want to get your taxes done. So then you end up not getting the best quality services because you waited to the last minute. So that's why it's important to start from the beginning. January 1st is where you start getting ready for tax season for next year. Not until April 15 or the day before, and you're like, oh, I'm ready to get my taxes done. So that is important for the small industry to do.
I feel seen because she's talking. I feel seen. Literally, when we first started working together, which was almost 8 years ago right now, when we started working together, that's how I was coming. Like I was doing live broadcast there and just trying to get all my information together. And she was like, Cheryl, listen, this is how you have to present your business, and this is how you have to do it every year, so that when you come to me, all we're doing is plugging in now.
Correct.
And so that's what TaxBiz has done for me. They've saved me and my husband literally, because before I made my business an LLC, my business was connected to my family taxes, my taxes that my husband and I filed together. And many of us are still doing that. But we need to separate it, number one. And then number two, we need to follow the professionals. And we need to go back because guess what? You're going to get audited. You're going to get audited because you're going to be targeted as a creative. Coming out of this pandemic, they've hired folk everywhere. How do we know? Because Beth got people on her staff that work for the IRS.
Yes,
And
100%.
talk a little bit about what we kind of learned from them, right? That, how they are aggressively going after us.
Correct. Well, that's what they've done. They've actually hired 64,000 agents. And just think about that. You have 64,000 employees that you have to train on the law, and the law is very complex.
Yeah.
So what you end up is a disaster. You have agent who does not even understand what they are literally enforcing. And we found out sometime when we're dealing with them that they're not aware of the law themselves. I have to constantly guide them through the law, and they are the agent that are enforcing the law. So this is why it's important to not only understand, where to go to get the help you need, but also understand your right as a taxpayer. Because if you don't understand your right, you don't have any right. So that is important to know, because there is the taxpayer law. There is a taxpayer bill of right that you need to understand that says that, hey, if they need to give me information. If I don't understand something, they should tell me what I need to do. They should give me enough time to procure what they're asking me to procure. So those are all the things that you're not aware of unless you know your right. So it is important to know that.
Absolutely. And then the awesome thing is that TaxBiz knows all the laws. We may not know it, but I can sleep at night because if anything comes from the IRS, I'm just sending it directly to Beth. If anything, if any questions are happening, I'm sending it right over to Beth. I'm sending it to them, and they're representing me. They have power of attorney to answer any of the questions. And like she said, most times they know more than some of the agents that are calling in. Let's jump into the business, right? Because as a woman of faith, talk about how you navigate the tax business. And the things, the industry that is highly unregulated.
Well, Cheryl, through prayers and meditation. But seriously though, as a woman of faith, and yes, this industry that is a tax preparation industry is unregulated, which means that, there's no law. Anyone with a computer with software from the taxes can file the return. They can start an LLC tomorrow, and the next day they can say, I'm in the tax business, right? Because it is not regulated. But there is part of the industry that is regulated, and where I'm at is regulated. The CPAs, the enrolled agent, and the lawyers that represent clients before the IRS are regulated by Circular 230, which is the IRS Code of Conduct, right? So we ourselves is not going to be unethical. Okay, we are not going to not do what we're supposed to do. And especially me being a woman of faith, I'm going to show transparency, and I'm not going to do the things that some of those companies that is not regulated going to do. So that's one of the biggest issues for us, is that we know that in this industry, people are looking for a big refund. But we know that when they get those refunds, there is stipulation to that refund. They may not be correct, and they're going to have to pay those refund back. So, so I believe that God provide us with the people that he needs us to help. Not only this is a business, Cheryl, but as you know, it's also my ministry,
right,
and finance. So when they come to us with those unregulated tax return that shows that they've padded the deduction, it is our job to educate them and let them know, hey, if that's what you're looking from us, we're not going to be able to provide it to you, because we're going to do it the right way. But at the same time, the same person that is padding their deduction are missing legitimate deduction that they could have gotten.
Right.
If had they known the law. So the person that's filing those returns may not be aware of those loopholes that can help the clients avoid paying taxes.
That's so good. And I'm glad you said that, because when you work in an industry that we may not know, as the average layperson may not know about, right? Like I could tell you about about radio or media. I can explain the board. I can tell you sound. I can tell you equalizing. Yes. I can tell you all those things, which is foreign to you. But that which is familiar to you is what your expertise is. And right. Because I don't know that, I can sleep at night that you're not trying to get over on me. For the
Amen.
simple fact that you're a woman of faith. And
Amen.
I've experienced that with you, right? That you operate by faith, and that you won't get over on the people. And one of the things I learned too from our podcast, The Simplified Tax Resolution, is people have used their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, people that are not experienced. They've used TurboTax, not really knowing the tax laws, just plugging in. But like you said, they're leaving money on the table. I even found out that people are going to the liquor store to get their taxes because it's unregulated. They're going to the liquor store to get their taxes done. And because of that, man, you could get in trouble, because they'll tell you, oh, we'll get you a refund. We'll get you a refund. But what they're doing might be illegal. And when the IRS comes back after you, they didn't put their name on your tax return as a preparer. So they're coming to you. But with TaxBiz, if I'm getting audited, they're going to come to TaxBiz, because they're signing the fact that they did our taxes, right? So you got to be careful. All the people that you have doing your taxes, that if they're not signing your tax return saying that they are the preparer, then guess what? You getting in trouble for whatever it is they put on your taxes.
You do. And then that's what the law says. The law says that it doesn't matter who prepare your tax return. You, the taxpayer, is responsible for anything that anybody put in your tax return. Because at the end of the day, once they finish file that return, Cheryl, you have to sign it that says that everything, and under oath, that everything that's on that return is correct and true to the best of your knowledge. Mm-hmm. So if you see in there that, you tithing and you only give $3,000 to the church, and you see $13,000 as charitable contribution, that's a lot. You only, your church says you give them $3,000. But if you're not paying attention and you just signing on the dotted line, then you are going to be held responsible for the assessment if you get audited, period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have a question. I want to see if you can answer really quickly.
Sure.
This is coming from Legend Killer, which I know is, I believe, Vincent Griffin. He's one of my listeners and a longtime listener of the station. He says, are churches being taxed? Yes or no? And then if so, if a person is doing anything gospel or spiritual or church-based, will they also be taxed?
Wow, that question is for the event, okay?
It really is, right? It really is.
But I will tell you this. Yes and no. If you are a church, meaning that you are a church founder and you have a church and you have people you have a congregation and they are tithing, then that money that you are receiving from those congregationists or people that are in your church are not taxable, and IRS don't want to do nothing with it. You have to file nothing for the church because of separation of states and church.
Right.
But if you are an employee of the church and you get a W-2 or you are 1099, yes, the income that you made from the church as a pastor, part of it is taxable. If you are if you are a pastor or ordained minister, some of those taxes are taxable, income are taxable. But when you come to that event in Vegas, we're going to show you ways that it may not be taxable. So you need to come.
Right. Especially if you're an ordained minister. There's
Yes.
some great tax options and tax breaks for you. And again, we'll get into those at that event. But I believe that answered your question, Vincent. That was great. Thank you. I see a rack of people here. Y'all tell me who's here so I can shout you out, so I can love on you on all the platforms. Thank y'all for joining us tonight as well. I want to talk about this too, because hiring an accountant firm and having a tax resolution company represent you is two totally different things. Even though you guys are still accountants, talk about, when you should hire an accounting firm, and let's talk about the difference, because some of these accounting firms don't know tax laws.
No, you are correct. Because an accounting firm, again, you can have an accounting firm and you just do bookkeeping, right? And you do payroll. Those are two things you don't need a license for. But the moment that you start to representing client, you need to be a CPA, you need to be an enrolled agent, or you need to be a lawyer. So when a client comes to us, I would say that if you're thinking of starting a business, even though you may not hire a professional, permanently, but at least meet with one on a consultation for 1 hour or half an hour to pick their brains about what is the best way to structure your business. Because the majority of the time, the biggest error that we see when clients come to us after the fact is that you see companies with Inc. They just started out, they have no income, and they want their company to be Inc. And basically, Inc. is one of those entity. When you sign up and be an incorporation, you got to file corporate taxes whether you make money or not. And corporate taxes is expensive to file because it's corporate taxes. Doesn't matter if you didn't make no money or you made $1 million, the fee is going to be the same because you're dealing with corporate taxes. So it's important to meet with a professional and ask them, what is your goal? What's your 1-year goal, your 2-year goal? Because you can always convert an LLC to a corporation or to an S corp. But I would suggest that, if you're going to start a small business, start with an LLC first. Don't go Inc. Don't go S corp. Start with an LLC. That's the cheapest way to go, because if you don't make any money, you can file that LLC with your personal taxes and save you some money.
Got it. Hey, Rosalind Gallman, thank you for peeking in. All right. So if I own my own production company, Beth, and I make a decent amount of money, how do I keep track of what I owe the IRS?
Well, that is a great question. And again, we got to go back to basics. You're starting a company, you start making money, and just with any job, any labor that you go and earn a wage, right? If you work for an employer and you're making $10 an hour, let's say just $10, right? You're not going to get the $10 from that employer. You're going to get maybe $7, because they're going to take out Social Security. They're going to take out Medicare. They're going to take out, withholding for state and federal.
Right.
So you're not going to end up with the full $10. Well, that's the same thing when you have a small business. And this is one of the biggest misconceptions. If you make money in your small business, you have to put aside some of that money to pay your taxes, just as if you went to work a regular W-2 job. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. The only difference is you got to be, very straight and understanding. Hey, I make $10. I got to put $2. You may not want to put the $3, 30%, but you may want to do 20, because why? With a business come expenses. So the full $10 may not be taxable, but pretty sure some will be. Mm-hmm. So it's important to put aside, a certain amount of money to cover your quarterly estimated taxes. Mm-hmm. That's one of the ways you're going to get out of trouble, because if you don't pay your estimated taxes, you wait till the end of the year. What happened is you're going to still pay that money, but you're going to pay it with penalty for not depositing it quarterly. Mm-hmm. So you have, as a small business, self-employed, you have to quarterly estimate your taxes and make those deposits to the IRS on a quarterly basis.
Got it. Listen, we're at 6:20 already. We're like rolling right now. I know, right? But I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing in Las Vegas. So I told you we're doing the Bizness of Faith, and we called it the Bizness of Faith because we want to work with faith leaders. We want to work with industry executives, artists. We want to work with anybody who works in the business, who is a creative, who is an influencer or anything within the
Yes.
Christian community. And we're bringing the TaxBiz team, right? So
Yes.
some of the questions that we talked about tonight, Beth is going to get into in depth. And you get an opportunity to do one-on-one consultations, right? So
Yes.
you can do one-on-one consultations, or you can set up an opportunity to do a consultation with them at a later date. But the
Mhm.
thing about it is, wherever you are in the world, TaxBiz USA can represent you.
Correct. We are
Wherever you are in the
nationwide.
world.
And that's one of the things that is key. We are nationwide, and we do it remotely through Zoom, through phone calls. So it doesn't matter where you are. We can help you, represent you. If you have a problem with the IRS, we can represent you. If you have bookkeeping, if you have a small business and need to get your book in order, we can help you. All that is done online, remotely, so you don't have to come into the office. But if you do, we love to see faces as well. So come onto the office as well if you are local.
Yeah, if you're in the DMV, they're located in Oxon Hill and also in Greenbelt. They have 2 locations, but she represents people all over the world, even talking about
Right.
setting up shop abroad. So
Yes.
I'm really, really excited about that, how the business is expanding. But they're able to represent you, and I want my industry friends to make sure that you that you connect with TaxBiz so they can work with you like they work with me. When I
Mhm.
say they've saved my husband and I so much money,
Yes.
$30,000 just off the bat.
Yes.
And we've been working
Yes.
with them for the last 8 years. So you can imagine every year how much we're saving and how much we're building based upon the relationship we have with TaxBiz. And that's why I'm bringing them to the Stellars to be with
Yes.
my
I'm so
friends.
excited.
So exactly, so that you
Yes.
can have that same access. So check it out. If you're going to the Stellar Awards, on Friday, July the 14th, come to our Business of Faith Showcase is what we're calling it, because we got DJ Soul that's going to be there mixing. We got artists coming. And when you register on eventbrite.com, like you can register right now on eventbrite.com, it makes you eligible to win an iPhone 14 or an iPad.
iPad.
Okay? So we're going to be doing
Yes.
some drawings of those that are registering. So go to our Eventbrite page right now, register for the event that's coming up. Register for the Business of Faith, and put your name in the pot. You can answer a few questions, because they can take those questions and tailor something for you, even on site.
Yes.
So go ahead and fill out the whole questionnaire. Go ahead and fill out the questionnaire. Go ahead and register right now at eventbrite.com. Thank you. There it is. That's our link. Eventbrite.com. It makes you eligible. I just got the word that Bashawn Mitchell is available for our event. So let's see if we can lock him in for the event. That's pretty dope.
Yes, that's
Tracy.
dope. That is awesome. I'm
Folks
totally
is watching now
excited.
that's been working on talent for me from the labels. I'm so excited about that. All right, that was
Cool.
great news and great timing.
Yes.
So register. As you can see, it's going to be with us, it's going to be one big party. It's going to be a fun event, even though it's informational and it's really going to help your business. It's not going to be stuffy. We're going to have a great
Good
time.
time.
You're
Yes,
going
we
to get this
are.
information, and you're going to be connected to one of the best things that happened to my life, TaxBiz USA.
Amen.
I
Amen.
can't
God is
wait. I
good.
can't wait
Thank
to
you.
connect you guys to the industry. So make sure that you guys register right now. Go ahead and register and make your place. We're going to be in and out. I know it's a lot going on Stellar Week, right? But we made sure we weren't going to do anything during the SAGMA events, and we made sure we weren't doing anything before the pre-show. So we're right there smack in the middle where nothing is really going on, and you could just come by, get you some food, and hang out with us for the event. It's going to be amazing. All right,
so.
I think I'm good.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to add to this live before we jump off?
No, I'm just so happy that we're able to do this. And again, I am totally excited about the event, and we're going to have some loopholes, some IRS insiders that's going to give us some information on how to save money. That's all we're here about, trying to save you guys money. Period.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's going to be a wealth of information. It's going to be so much stuff for you guys to take back with you, and it's not, the consultations won't even take long, right? So we even have it set up in the church. We're at the International Restorers of the Breach Church, where they're going to allow us to set up space after the event is over for you to sit down and get more information. Even if you want your free consultation there, Beth can do it there.
Yes, I can do it.
It's gonna be good,
It's
y'all.
gonna
I'm
be
telling
good.
you. I'm bringing this information and putting it in your lap, and you know it's going to be an awesome event if it's a CJE event, right?
All
So come and hang out
right.
with your girl, and come and meet
Yes.
Beth, and let's just have a great time in Las Vegas. Might be able to do another live before it. We'll see. Beth is really busy because
I know.
she's got a lot going on right now.
Yes, I do.
We
Yes,
might be
but
able
it's
to
okay
jump on.
though. This is all for the fam. I'm
It's
okay with
so
that. We
good.
make time.
I think we should be able to do another live like this beforehand, and even throughout the year, we'll be able to, do some more stuff live. But here's what you can do to get this great information that we're sharing. Go to our podcast, Simplified Tax Resolutions, anywhere, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast. Look for it. Just type in Simplified Tax Resolution, or Cheryl Jackson or Beth McNeil, whatever. It'll come up, and make sure you check it out, or go to my link on all my social media pages. I have a link to our podcast, which we also share a lot of great information. And we have even an IRS tax agent on that podcast with us. We have Beth, we have our office manager, and all of the great information on the podcast as well. All right. I think I said enough. Thank you guys for joining me.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it so
love
very
you,
much.
sis. Always.
I love you, Beth. Thank you so much.
All right,
guys.
sweetheart.
See you at the
God
Sellers.
bless you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.